Well, good morning to you. It is the middle of the week. Wednesday is the day. I'm Todd Duplantis, and you're watching Up to the Minute. We've got your HCC news and information for the next half hour. Some special guests are joining us, so stick around for that. My co-host this morning, he went into his closet and he dressed up for the show. So take a look at Benjamin Escobar, ladies and gentlemen, dressed professionally for the day. Benji, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. How are things going? Are you at the studio this morning?
I am not at the studio. I'm actually working from home.
You're working from home today. Yeah. All right. Are you taking classes this summer? I didn't know if you were doing that.
Not this summer, but I am taking classes this coming fall semester. So, which we'll talk about later on in the show.
Oh, okay. So in other words, you need me to move on, right?
No.
All right. Okay. All right. So Benji, we want to thank everybody watching the show now live on Facebook and YouTube. We're here every morning live at 10 a.m., but you can also stream us anytime in social media. And Benji, they can find us in social media and I believe also on a cable channel as well.
Yes. So we're, like you said, we're live on Houston Community College District Facebook page and YouTube, not just HCC, but Houston Community College District. We're also on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and our own TV channel, HCCTV, at noon, 5, and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Okay. All right. Benji, we've got a couple of guests in the show. Let's see. Looks like Melba may not be ready yet. She's still getting in place there. Melba, are you there? No. Okay. We'll check in with her shortly. We've got Melba Lee-Hosey is going to be joining us in a little while to tell us a little bit about her story. It's an amazing one. And we're going to kick things off with a man who wears multiple hats here at HCC. He's all over the place. He works for Career Services, Director of Career and Job Placement Services. He's also the host of Veterans Voice and a guest on this show many times, but he hasn't been on here in a year. I don't know why. James Mable, why haven't you been on Up to the Minute for the last year?
You know, Todd, I think I've been hunkered down in helping students find employment. It's been such a great economy in the past year. So I think that's what I'm busy doing. Yes.
Well, good. It's good to have you with us. Good to see you on the show. And I know you keep very busy. And Veterans Voice, you guys recording anytime soon? You guys got a show coming up?
I think we will have one here very soon.
Okay.
It's been quite a busy summer for me.
I know it's been busy for all of us. I get it. Yeah, he's got a lot of going on. James, of course, you're the Director of Career and Job Placement Services. Right now, you mentioned the economy. It's been kind of up and down, but the jobs are still out there. People are still hiring, and there are a lot of industries that are in need right now.
Yeah, exactly. I was watching the news recently that every month there's a Department of Labor report on the number of jobs that have been obviously posted but filled, and so the job market and specifically the job outcome from last month for June was very positive. It beat expectations that companies are still hiring in droves. So just like last summer, as everyone was coming out of COVID in the spring of 2021, right now, companies are hiring at the same levels they were hiring last year.
So you've got a lot of industries that are hiring, a lot of jobs out there. Why don't you tell us some of the important things that our students need to know, like resumes? Obviously, this is very important. What should you have in your resume? Should it be 3 pages long? Should it be 1 page long? What's the rule of thumb there? And what do you suggest to our students?
You know, I still recommend that students be very strategic about the information they place upon a resume, that a resume should be concise. It's supposed to highlight, you know, the most relevant experience, skills that you may have. So depending on the years of experience, you know, if I say, I recommend that if you have, for example, less than 5 years of total relevant experience, maybe your resume needs to be a page.
Yeah.
But if you're having maybe 5 to 10 years experience it could definitely get by with being a couple of pages or even longer if you're having over 10 years of experience. But the most important thing is to ensure that the information you place upon it is relevant. There might have been some jobs you've done in the past that are just not related to the specific job that you're going for. So you may not need to place it upon your resume. Maybe you place it upon the application when you're formally applying for the position on the company's website.
How important is it to have the right keywords in resume? Like if you're going into oil and gas, to make sure, I'm sure there are like at least a dozen keywords you want to make sure you have in those resumes. Do you talk with students about that?
Yes. So you bring up something very important. I really believe that the job seeker should use the vocabulary that you may find in the job description when you're applying for a job, that your resume, the language, the vocabulary that is used in the industry should mirror what's on your resume. Especially if you've had years of experience in the field, the employer wants to feel comfortable that you obviously are not just well-versed, but you're an expert in the field as well, and you're familiar with specific concepts, software, equipment, anything in the field. So it's important that your resume, your job descriptions, your cover letter, that it speaks to what's on the job description itself.
And James, I know you guys have a website interface service that you use with students. It's called Career Hub. Maybe you can tell us about that, because it helps students form a checklist, and I believe it has a mock interview that they can practice with as well.
Yes, so we have a career services solution. We have branded it as HCC Career Hub. And HCC Career Hub is an excellent resource for students and graduates. As students enroll at HCC, their accounts are automatically created in HCC Career Hub. Those students can log in to schedule appointments with career services. They can register for events, and they can apply for internships and jobs. We require all employers that come to us with openings to post those openings in HCC Career Hub. And one thing I do for students and graduates is I make them aware of the job opportunities by downloading those jobs. And I send those jobs directly to the students via email every single month to make them aware. Now, as you mentioned, from a checklist standpoint, there's some great resources within HCC Career Hub. There's a resume builder. There's a video mock interview tool, meaning a student could log in, practice a behavioral video mock interview, and then send that to career services for feedback. Or they could send it to a professor, they could send it to a friend, someone that they trust and that they want to give feedback on how they did in a video mock interview. So that's a really excellent tool that students have access to, and that can just help them be more competitive in the job market.
The goal for many of our students is to graduate, get out there and get a job. But when you graduate, you may have a job that you're just your starter job, that you're just going to go so far, and then you're looking for a better job. Once a student is a graduate and they're an alum of HCC, can they then go back to Career Hub for further services?
Yes, so those accounts in HCC Career Hub are there indefinitely. So as students finish at HCC, they should know that even though they may transfer to a four-year institution or they may be out in the job market, that at any time as an alumnus at HCC, they could come back and use HCC Career Hub. All they have to do is go to our site and request access, and we will give them access to the system.
And you guys have a system to where they can leverage their college and university career resources with other colleges as well, right?
Yes. So one of the beauties of the career services solution that we have is that we branded it at HCC Career Hub, but the company is called Simplicity, and Simplicity is a network, if you will. We've plugged into a network, meaning the University of Houston. If you've transferred there and you're using career services at the University of Houston, you'll find that you're using Simplicity as well, and they're calling it there. They call it Cougar Pathway. And if you're at Texas A&M, they use Simplicity over there as well, and they call it, I think it's called Hire Aggies. So just know that if you have plans to transfer to any of those institutions I mentioned, you will be using their version of HCC Career Hub. So you should use their system, and you should use HCC Career Hub while you're at A&M, while you're at the University of Houston. Be strategic with your time, be strategic with the resources available to you.
You know, it's changed so much since the days I went to college. I will tell you, when I went to U of H, I'm not going to say when, but it was quite some time ago. And I went to their career services. They really did help me with getting a job, but they would give you some names or some numbers, and then you'd go look out at a bulletin board, and there'd be literally index cards on the board with the job. You'd pull it off there. You'd go call the person. If you get to the job, you wouldn't put the thing back on the bulletin board. It's all changed now, folks. It's a lot easier, and it sounds like you guys really make it easy for our students when they go on to bigger and better things.
Yes, because Todd, what you just mentioned, that concept, I have to compare it to our resume book feature. Like instead of you calling someone, just know that if you use HCC Career Hub and upload your resume to your account, we send resume books to employers who have job opportunities. Yeah. So they're calling you. That's so correct. You need to have your resume in your account in order for us to utilize it. And we're just trying to be proactive on your behalf to make you aware, to make companies aware of your resume on a regular basis.
Mind blown, James. Great stuff you guys are doing. James Mable, he's the director of HCC's Career Service and Job Placement, also the host of our Veterans Voice. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Let's not wait a year before we get you on the show again, all right?
Yes, sir. Looking forward to being back on.
All right, James, take care. Okay, we've got a very special story. We're going to check in with Benji now. And let me make sure. Melba, are you there? Melba Lee-Hosey. I want to make sure she's on board. Are you there, Melba? Can you hear us? Okay, I think your mic is muted. If you can have someone unmute your mic. Let's see if we can get that on. There we go. Hi, Melba.
Hi.
Good to have you with us. Thank you for joining us this morning. We've got one, we're very excited to hear about your story. It's very inspiring. But I've got one of our students who's going to be talking with you, Benji. He's very dressed up today, so maybe you can tell him to dress a little better next time. But Benji's going to join us and do the interview with you. But thank you for joining us, Melba. Benji, take it away.
Yeah, so today we have Melba Lee-Hosey. She is a retired nurse and a former HCC student, and now is being inducted into, this is a mouthful here, the Prairie View Interscholastic League Coaches Hall of Fame for cheerleading. So welcome to the show, Melba.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so this is quite the story. So from captain of the cheerleading squad to a leader among nurses. But first, things first, tell us why you became a cheerleader.
I became a cheerleader because I had a sister that was a cheerleader. So oftentimes when they wanted to practice cheerleading and they had done what they were going to do, and she thought that she did not get the steps, and because I was on the outside looking in, she'd ask me, did they do it this way or did they do it that way? So when the opportunity came open for a cheerleader, even though I was a freshman in high school, I was chosen because I already knew all of the steps and all of the yells.
Wow. So you would just train in front of your house, or your sisters would show you how to do all these routines. Exactly. So you just went into it, huh? So how long were you a cheerleader for?
From my sophomore year all the way into my senior year.
Okay. And then even though you were on the cheerleading squad, you were also an honor student.
I was. I graduated with honors. I did.
Okay. And so what did you do after high school?
After high school, I came to Texas Southern University. And of course, life changes things. I had my mother at home and a special needs brother. My mother got sick, which meant that I dropped out of Texas Southern and had to do the caregiving part because of my mother being ill and the special needs brother. And during my mother's illness, my mom said to me, you need to go back to school. And of course, by that time I was married, and it was just not at the time that I needed to go back to school. But she said, you know what, Melba, you can do nursing. Well, I already had a sister that was a registered nurse that had finished from Prairie. And I thought about it, but I also watched the nurses that did the hands-on care for my mom. And that was the licensed vocational nurse. So in a conversation, as my mother got ill and sicker, she said, what are you going to do? I want you to go to nursing school. I said, yes, ma'am. But see, what she did not do, she did not say LV and RN. So when I talked to one of the nurses one night, because I usually stayed with her at night, I asked her how long did it take for her to become an LVN? She said 1 year. Well, that was my way out to becoming a nurse. I went Houston Community College, class of 72, and I finished in 73.
Wow. So tell us, how did you become the president? Because I've heard that you are the president of the Board of Vocational Nurses.
I was the president of the Board of Vocational Nurses. I decided that I wanted to know who were the guiding folks of my board. So I reached out and got a chance to see that it is an appointment that was made by, at that time, Governor Ann Richards. And at that time, we had two boards of nursing, the RN board and the Board of Vocational Nurse Examiners. Being an LVN, I applied for the Board of Vocational Nurse Examiners and was appointed by Governor Ann Richards. I got there on a 6-year term. Half of my term had already been used. So I was there 5.5 years. For the half year, I was vice president. And for the 5 years, I was president of the Board of Vocational Nurse Examiners, the board with the largest number of LPNs, which is another, but same LVN in other states. Louisiana and Texas has LVNs. The other states have LPNs, licensed practical nurses. Largest state with the largest number of LVNs in the state for 5 years.
So I keep hearing a lot of there's a difference between a registered nurse and an LVN. Can you give us a little bit of what the differences are there?
Well, it is the knowledge, sometimes the hands-on. Well, there are certain things that a registered nurse can do that I can't do as an LVN because I'm not trained. One thing, let's say hospice, I can work in hospice, but if there's a death in hospice, I cannot pronounce that client, patient, death. I have to wait for the registered nurse to come because she has the credentials, and that's part of what the state of Texas says. There are certain other things like putting in a PICC line, and that PICC line goes directly into the heart. I cannot do that because I'm not trained to do that. Those are just specific things that we as LVNs cannot do. But as far as being team leaders in nursing homes, which is where you find most LVNs. If you don't find them there, you find them in clinics and you find them doing home health.
So you said you got your schooling done at HCC, and you said one of the reasons why you ended up coming to HCC is because you didn't want to go through the whole registered nurse process.
I did not. And at that time, there was not, they were just putting in place the 2-year RN. Okay. But I don't think I would have chosen the RN route because at first that was not what I wanted to do. My choice was physical education or social work. So I made a promise to my mom, and I kept that promise to my mom to become a nurse.
How was your time at HCC with us? If there's a student here watching, can you tell them a little bit about the program?
I actually had a good time at HCC. Mrs. Sherry Reed was my instructor, and I was fortunate enough to do my preclinical, which is in the classroom studies, and then we did clinicals, and I went to Memorial Southeast, which is no longer Memorial Southeast on Belfort. It's out southeast off of Beamer. That's where it is now, but at that time it was on Belfort, right off of Telephone Road. So I kept my same instructor all the way through. We were taught good skills, and we were taught exceptional skills because before she had become a registered nurse with a bachelor's degree, she was an LVN. So she could teach our hands-on because she had actually experienced hands-on experience.
Melba, I wanted to ask you a question. I've got a question for you. When you were caring for your mom and your brother, did that inspire you as a caregiver for your future? Did you think, you know what, I know your mom talked to you, but did you get inspiration from that as to where your career path was going to take you?
No, I did not, because that was not where I wanted my career path to take me. But after I made that promise to my mom, I'm that kind of person that says, I'm going to give it my all. So if not to be a registered nurse, to be an LVN, and I knew the LVN was the one that did the hands-on nursing. It's called The Bedside Nurse.
Yeah.
That's what I watched, and that's what I like. That's why I left hospital work, is because I could not do due diligence taking care of 10, 12 patients.
Yeah.
And so then I went to home health one-on-one, private duty.
Tell us about the award that you're getting as well. What is the Prairie View Interscholastic Lead Coaches Hall of Fame for cheerleading? Tell us about that.
Well, it's called PVILCA short. It is a group that has come forward to recognize those of us that finished from segregated schools. At that time, it was called colored schools. And they talked about our hands-on, what we did. We won state in football, we won state in track. That was never recognized by, they say. Now it is being recognized that we're finding that we're getting our place in history because of our contributions to the sports arena. Well, I was surprised when I was asked to sit on that committee that the cheerleaders were being recognized. So I pulled forth a cheerleader that I thought that would be interested. She was not. So Mr. Brown, who is the administrator, said, Ms. Hosey, what did you do when you were in high school? And I have this sense of humor. And I said, I did everything I thought I could do and get away with it. So he said, were you a cheerleader? And I said, I must admit, I was the last cheerleader from George Washington Carver. As our school ended because of segregation, it integrated in 1967. I am in the last graduating class of George Washington Carver High School in Sweden, Texas.
Incredible. It's an incredible story. You're very inspiring, Melba Lee-Hosey. Where are you today? What are you up to today?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No, I do. I like to do volunteer work, and I check on the seniors during this time and during the winter time. I check on the seniors, even though I am a senior. I still drive, and I do the phone calls to make sure that they're all right. If I don't get that call, I usually know who's the next person to be contacted for that person. So I'm not just sitting at home doing nothing. I'm working the phone.
I was going to say, you look very busy.
I am, and I enjoy what I do.
Melba, we appreciate you joining us on the show. It's a very inspirational story, and thanks for sharing it with us, our faculty, staff, students, and the community.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Melba Lee-Hosey, she's a retired nurse and former HCC student. We appreciate you being here. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go on to some HCC news and announcements. Benji, you want to talk about some work-study job fairs, because those are going on, I believe, right now.
Yeah, so the work-study job fairs are going on this week. Financial aids on campus job fairs continue with traditional work-study from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. through Thursday, July 21st at the HCC Central Campus, West Loop, and at the West Houston Institute. And we'll have a link on our post after the show.
Okay. Book supplies credit. That's right. Book and supplies credit. You're a student, you can get some. Financial aid grants and loans may be available to assist our students for books and supplies with the summer 2022 book credit. It goes on through August the 1st. We'll have the financial aid book credit information and a link in our social media post after the show. And there is an event coming up August the 5th for women entrepreneurs.
Yeah, so we have the Women's Business Shower open for business event. HCC's Open for Business is hosting a business shower celebrating women entrepreneurs. That's going to take place, like you said, Friday, August 5th from 9 a.m. to noon at the HCC Central Campus. We're going to be highlighting women entrepreneurs in our open business program. The event includes food, music, discussion panels, and guest speakers from HCC's Goldman Sachs and Houston's MBDA Business Center. And we'll have registration info on the post after the show.
Okay, I want to jump on down because there's a save the date that you'll need to keep in mind. We have a convocation coming up this next month, August the 19th, Friday, August the 19th. HCC scheduled its fall 2022 convocation. The title this year theme is Harnessing Our Entrepreneurial Capacity, which will offer 2 sessions in Stafford with bus transportation provided from 3 campuses to get you there. Easy enough, right? That's 10 a.m. is the morning session. 2 p.m. is the afternoon session. There are going to be buses taking off and taking people from these locations. HCC Central, that's for employees of Central, Coleman, Southeast, and the district offices. HCC's Northeast College, the buses will leave there. They are servicing Northeast, Acres Homes, North Forest, and Northline employees. And HCC's Northwest College will have buses taking off, and that's servicing from Katy, the West Houston Institute, and the Spring Branch employees. So make sure you sign up for this. There's going to be a registration link, but put it on your calendar, Friday, August the 19th. It's happening at the Stafford Center out in Stafford. Registration link will be given to you shortly. And if you haven't registered for the fall, that registration is going on, Benji.
Yeah, so that's what I was talking about later. I wanted to mention out to students or people who are thinking about coming to HCC. Our registration is ongoing for fall 2022. So the course options are still online anytime. So that's when you can go to classes whenever you need to.
Yep.
Just get it done on a certain time. Then you have online on a schedule, hybrid, where we do a little bit of both in person and a little bit online. And then you have the in-person traditional, if you just want face-to-face courses, we have that too. And we also have hybrid lab. And I cannot stress enough, for registration and all HCC programs, just go to hccs.edu/apply. It's the best thing you can do right now.
Yes. Okay. All right. Wrapping up today's show. Tomorrow on the show, we've got Dr. Michael Webster, Associate Vice Chancellor of Workforce Instruction. I believe he will be talking about the new Cybersecurity Center at the West Loop campus. Pretty cool, right? And for Thursday's Family Fun Day, an HCC professor will preview his presentation on the American Revolution that he's going to be offering up at the Fort Bend Library. All that and more tomorrow. Benji, you're not here tomorrow. You're here next week, right?
Next week, yes.
Okay, he'll be wearing a real shirt next week. All right. So make sure you join him for that. And we'll be back tomorrow. I won't be here tomorrow, but we're going to be live 10 a.m. Make sure you join us for Up to the Minute.